My male 27 sister, Jane, 29, has always had a strained relationship with our parents. The conflict that led them not speaking to each other for a long time was because they told her ex-fiance about a pre-existing medical condition she had. This ruined the relationship and Jane went low to no contact. I believe the dude deserved to know what he was getting into and it was wrong of her to hide it for so long, so parents had to take action. Later, she met her now husband and their wedding took place 2 weeks ago. The problem was that she didn't invite our parents, although she reconciled with them, but she said it was her wish. Our parents reacted negatively, and there was so much arguing to the point where Jane told them to drop it or she'd cut them off. This upset our parents and other relatives, but none of them wanted to tell them where the wedding was except me. I gave my parents the address of my sister's wedding after they cried and said they didn't want to miss a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to see Jane get married. I gave them the address and thought Jane's heart might soften when she saw them, but instead she went nuts and there was a blow-up at the wedding. Although our parents were nice, they were still kicked out of the place. Later, Jane chewed me out for what I did and claimed I ruined her wedding. Her new husband told me to leave, which I thought was an overreaction because our parents mainly cared enough to come and didn't want to miss the chance. Since then, Jane hasn't been answering my calls and her new husband keeps saying that I messed up and potentially ruined our relationship. So, am I the idiot? What part of she doesn't want them there did you not get? Of course you're the idiot. How could you write all that out and think you might not be? You disrespected her wishes on one of the most important days of her life and brought drama and emotional pain to one of the most important days of her life, all because you decided your opinions and your parents' feelings were more important than hers. Don't be surprised that she's no contact with you and your parents after this stunt. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if your sister cut you out of her life. She certainly can't trust you. You went behind her back and told them the address and then tried to make her out to be a monster when people that she explicitly did not want at her wedding showed up. Gaslighting your sister makes you the idiot, and all of this makes you the idiot. But his mommy cried, so of course he had to put his mommy's feelings before his sister's wishes. OP is the idiot, and so are his parents. Poor Jane. How on earth you could arrive at anything but you are the idiot is beyond me. They told her ex-fiance about a pre-existing medical condition she had. They already ruined one relationship. What on earth led you to believe they wouldn't do the same crap again, but at a wedding this time? Good job ruining your relationship with your sis, OP. Jane hasn't been answering my calls and her new husband keeps saying I messed up. Gee, I wonder why. Maybe because you were completely in the wrong. Your parents shared her medical info, and now you shared an address to a party they weren't welcome at. No wonder your sister doesn't want to talk to any of you. It's a whole gaggle of idiots. My sister has feelings. I don't think she actually has them though. I'm going to prove her wrong by putting her in a situation I know she'll hate, just to see if she has the feelings she claims to have. Excuse me? LOL. Jesus, you are 27 years old. Grow up and realize that life is not a Disney movie where people magically are happy and all is good. That's not how reality works. I've been seeing my fiancé for 4 years now, and I came into the relationship with 2 boys. My boys are now tween and pre-tween. Once a year, the boys and I go to my family's vacation home with the entire family, and up until this year, my fiancé didn't attend. But now that we're engaged and merging families, the family asked that he come too. They all get along great with him anyways. I explained to him before we went to our family retreat that my kids don't have any bedtime during our week's stay with the family. We do a lot of night activities such as night swimming in the pool, karaoke, fires, nightly strolls through the neighborhood, etc, etc. So during this week my kids absolutely do not have a bedtime and this is how it's always been. I made it clear that bedtime was not to be enforced like it was at home because this is vacation and time with family, and I'm not making my kids miss out on the nightly activities. I also explained that due to this, some nights they're up until easily 11 or midnight. It's once a year, it's no big deal. So he was fully aware, and please note that this is the only time I've seen this side of him that I will mention below. We get here the first night, and you can tell he's already uncomfortable with the boys staying up past their bedtime. He was stressing out because the boys were still in the pool at 10 PM and he felt like they should be in bed already. I reminded him at least twice that we were not enforcing a bedtime here, and he let it go the first night. The second night, 9 PM rolls around and the boys were still up, and my fiancé was dropping comments like, "You're lucky you're even still awake right now, you should be in bed," saying it right in front of my mom, who looked mortified that he had such an attitude. I told him to cut the damn crap in private. He tells me he thinks it's messed up and that it's going to be terrible trying to get them back on their schedule. Never been an issue in the years prior. I stood firm and told him to knock it off and let it go. But then last night, my fiancé started angrily sighing every single time he looked at my kids still awake, and I finally pulled him aside and told him he was a damn embarrassment because he kept saying those comments in front of my family, which led to awkward silences and judgmental glances my way. I warned him prior to coming here that if he had an issue that he couldn't control for a week, then he needed to leave because he was ruining our trip with his passive-aggressive BS surrounding a bedtime. He told me I'm an idiot for making him feel like garbage over wanting to keep the kids on a schedule because it's best for them. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Is this the first time the power dynamic has completely shifted to you? You're in your home court now. It's your rules, your dynamic, your family. You have all the power here. Now, for most people, this isn't an issue at all. It's barely notable or noticeable. But this guy clearly simply can't handle the fact that he's not in charge here. It's eating at him to the point of irritability. I'm sorry, but this is him showing you who he really is. Reflect on this. Where else have you clearly seen his control issues but you dismissed them? They're there, all around you. I think the biggest concern here is the remarks to the children. The way he was undermining you to them and being passive-aggressive with them probably made them really uncomfortable. I think you should check in with them about how they feel about him and really listen to them. This may not be the first time he's tried to exert control with them behind your back. Yep, the mask is slipping. This is a critical point. OP says she's never seen this side of him before. She probably has, but she just didn't recognize it for what it was at the time. She needs to do a serious review of their time together and see how many times she's given in or gone along with his wishes to keep the peace. Because once the ring is on her finger, all bets will be off. Seen this story one too many times, unfortunately. Update. Thank you all. However, I've noticed a lot of conflicting opinions on his parenting versus mine in the past, such as he pushes modesty to the highest degree possible and had issues with me walking around in a sports bra, or the fact that he feels the boys should have to ask permission to eat the snacks that I purchase for them. I don't agree with that either, and there really was no compromise made there because he absolutely hates that the boys have an open door policy on my fridge. He also hates that I allow them to have drinks right before bed because then they're up using the bathroom. So now that I mention it, there have been a lot of issues that I've overlooked in the past and turned a blind eye to. But usually, he does pull me aside and bring up the issues in private, whereas while we've been here, he's just pushing his passive aggressiveness off in public, like he should be the decision maker. This past weekend, my wife, 41, and I, 42 male, attended one of my friend's parties that I was invited to. For context, my friend, 42 male, and his girlfriend, 48, and their two friends, also mid-40s male and female, were hosting this party, the four of them together. A few weeks ago, when I received the invitation, I realized that it said on it something along the lines of, "Please be prepared to purchase your drinks." I didn't think much of it at the time, considering I just thought they were hiring a bartender or something. But fast forward to the day of the party. I arrive with my wife, and it's my friend and his girlfriend standing behind their kitchen counter that they were using as their bar, making and charging the guests for drinks. Now, I was confused for a few reasons. One, this party was held at my friend's house. It's not like this was an event space or something where this would be normal, in my opinion. Two, there was no bartender that they hired or anything like that. It was literally two of the four of them standing in the kitchen at a time, making drinks for people and then charging them accordingly. Drinks were all under $10. I don't know if this is a common thing, but I have never in my 42 years of living been to a party at a friend's house where the hosts charge you for drinks. I honestly felt like my friend, his girlfriend, and their friends were all trying to make a quick buck off their guests who attended, clearly to cover the costs of the drinks. Yeah, I understand that booze isn't cheap these days, but we're talking about splitting the cost of whatever they bought between four people. In my opinion, if you can't afford to supply drinks at your party, why are you having a party in the first place? This also wasn't for charity or anything. The money made off of the drinks was for them to split. My wife and I bought one drink each, stayed for about an hour or so and said our goodbyes. When we were leaving, my friend asked why we didn't have that much to drink. I told him that they were charging their close friends for drinks, and I thought it was ridiculous. He called me cheap and an unsupportive friend. I assured him that I was not. If the charge for drinks was for a good cause, like profits go to charity or something, of course I'd buy drinks. I told him I find the fact that they're charging for drinks and keeping the money for themselves ridiculous and taking advantage of their friends. Anyway, now my friend and his girlfriend are butthurt about this and have been calling me an idiot to our mutual friends. Am I the idiot here? Not the idiot. That's just so weird. I could understand if it was in an event space and they hired a bar and bartender, but charging people for a drink in your home is just weird. I would have left too, but I wouldn't have bothered to explain my exit. Pointless arguing with a person who would do that in the first place. Tacky is the right word. I usually err on the side of over-ordering food and drinks for people when they come over, so this is just unheard of for me. At a college house party, sure. Here? No. I wouldn't have had one drink. Cash bar in a private home is crazy. And these people are in their 40s. I cannot get over this. Was there a tip jar? LOL. Hey, perhaps they're upset because you left before they introduced the multi-level marketing business they were starting. They were more than covering costs. $10 per drink sounds like bar prices. They would have been making between a 250 and 500% markup depending on how generous the amount in each drink was. That's not covering costs, that's running a bar as a side business without having a license. OP? Lose such friends. My female 24 fiance, male 24, has had a complicated life. His dad abandoned him before he was born, and his mother was a single mother for some years until she met her husband, and they had 2 kids together. From what my fiance told me, his mother was lovely, but his stepdad was a total idiot. Once he had his own kids, he let my fiance know that he was worthless compared to his own kids. I'm afraid I have to disagree about his mother being nice, because she enabled this behavior from her husband to her own kid. But I wasn't there, so I can't know for sure. My fiancé likes gaming and anime. He has since he was a kid, however he was shamed by his stepfather because of it. Their relationship isn't good and it's all his stepfather's fault. He never tried to be a parent for him and hated having to keep him in the house. My fiancé's grandmother told me this. When he was a teen, everything was an issue, from his hobbies to friends, anything he did wrong. Well, anyway, he's in college now and studying to be a programmer. He's doing great. His mom invited us over to dinner. We drove there and luckily we didn't have to put up with his stepfather for too long because he wasn't home when we got there. He arrived just a little before lunch was served. After eating, we hung out in the living room when my fiancé's mom asked him about college. He started talking about his grades, his classes and other school-related stuff. His stepfather asked his sister, who was a senior in high school, if she'd been studying. She said she did and he said that was great because she needs to be ahead for next year. He then explained that his daughter was getting ready because she'll go into law school next year. He's a lawyer too, and then he said the comment that made me snap. He told my fiancé that law school was hard, and being good at it is something to brag about because everyone can play video games all day, but not everyone can graduate from a serious career. He literally said this. I looked over at my fiancé and he was sad. He didn't say anything, but I know him, so I snapped. I told him that if he thought that studying programming was playing video games all day, then he was far more ignorant than I thought he was. I originally planned to stop there, but then I got caught up and told him that he was an idiot for dragging my fiancé down on purpose. I also told him that he must have a miserable life if he's so focused on causing pain to others. Nobody said anything and my fiancé asked to leave, so we did. He's not angry at me. Quite the opposite, he thanked me for standing up for him. I made sure that he knew I supported and loved him. However, he got a message later from his mother about how rude I was for disrespecting his stepdad and how I ruined the day. I honestly don't care, and neither does he, and I want to know if I was too rude or not. Not the idiot, it's deeply disturbing that his mother thinks that you ruined the day while she accepted her husband's behavior as something normal. It may be the biggest problem because if she gives your fiancé an ultimatum, he may break and submit to her demands. You won't win with his stepfather's shadow without destroying the mother's influence. Right? If someone had said anything remotely like this to my son, there would be some pretty firm consequences. OP, you are a great partner. He should consider limiting contact with his mother for her role in all of this. Just remember, on that end you can lead a horse to water but you can't make it drink. He will have to realize that mom's a toxic enabler who cares more about her new family than her son. I, 28 male, have always told my girlfriend, 26, that she needs to be a better driver. She can drive, but she's overly cautious, takes longer than needed to look around when parked, stops completely for a good few seconds at stop signs, keeps checking her speedometer and braking the moment she's 1 mph more than the limit, etc. Yesterday, she crashed the car and claimed a semi suddenly swerved into her lane as she was passing it. She lost control and hit the barrier. Luckily, it wasn't too bad and the car is drivable and fixable. When she explained what happened, I told her I knew that would happen someday, and she argued, saying that it wasn't her fault. I told her a single vehicle collision is always your fault, and that if she hadn't overcorrected and slowed down gently, she wouldn't have lost control, or even if she had hit the truck, then it would have been their fault. Edit, the truck didn't stop. So, am I the idiot for telling my girlfriend her car accident was her fault? You are the idiot. Do you always behave like a mansplaining know-it-all? You should have bought her flowers to cheer her up, but instead, you couldn't help yourself and went to the route of, I knew this bad scary thing was going to happen to you because you deserve it because you're too careful when you drive. Ugh, you seem exhausting. I would rather ride with her than with you. Everything you say she does points to her being a safer driver. Why aren't you willing to give her the benefit of the doubt? Stops completely for a good few seconds at stop signs. That is exactly what you're supposed to do at a stop sign. It's not a casual suggestion. That truck could have killed her and you dare spit BS like this? Do you even like your girlfriend? You don't seem supportive at all. Thank goodness nothing serious happened to her. You're a terrible partner, and honestly, she deserves way better. You are the idiot all the way.